In trap number one, we talked about how America's consumer culture makes it easy for us to spend, but once you've used that credit card, there's another trap waiting. One of the banks count on to keep you in debt for years. It's right there on your monthly statement in plain sight, and most people have no idea how costly it really is. Bill Mitchell calls it the minimum monthly payment trap, and once you understand how it works, you'll never look at your credit card bill the same way. So, Bill, people see the minimum payment on their statements, and what's really going on there that's slowly sucking them into this vortex of being in debt for a long time?
Yeah, you have to understand that the premise for the banks, how they make money, is interest. So the more interest they collect, the more money they make. The minimum monthly payment is designed to maximize the amount of interest banks earn on your credit card charges.
So a lot of times people get their credit card bills, they just kind of look at that, see what they have to pay, and they pay it. But where do they actually see the difference between like the minimum monthly payment and maybe thinking about maybe they need to step things up a little bit?
Well, it's right there on their statement. But the one thing Congress did correctly in 1970, they created the Credit Accountability, Responsibility, and Disclosure Act in 1970. And that requires the banks or any credit card issuer to tell consumers how much and how long it takes to pay back the balance if they only make the minimum monthly payment.
And so using your credit card bill as an example, you're carrying a balance of about $1,700, right?
Yeah, well, $1,787.83. But the more important fact is that they tell me right below it how much I'm supposed to make as a minimum monthly payment. That's $48. There's two things you don't appreciate. That $48, $29 of it is for interest.
So you're taking a very small chunk out.
So only $19 goes to pay off the $1,787. And then if you look at the box below in the fine print, it tells you that if I miss a payment, it costs me $39, and then they can charge me interest of up to 29.9% if I'm in default. Now, keep in mind, the Bank of America calls me a preferred customer, and they charge me 19.9% interest. Imagine if I wasn't preferred.
Right. And imagine if you just made that little minimum payment every month.
Well, but they tell you right below, as required by law, how long it will take if I only make the minimum payment. John, how long does it say it will take to pay off my credit card by only making the minimum monthly payment?
It says 10 years. So you can see how it can build up on people, and they just simply go month to month. Talk about the APR, which is also on the statement, the annual percentage rate. For folks who don't live in the finance world, what does that really mean, and why does it matter to them?
Well, it's simply the interest rate the banks can charge. And again, in my example, it's 19.9. The APR is 1/12 of that interest rate. So if your interest rate is 18%, they're charging 1.5% every month on your outstanding balance.
So let's walk through a real life example. Say someone is buying a television for $1,000, and how little of the payment is going toward the balance versus the interest?
The minimum monthly payment is anywhere from 2 to 4% of the outstanding balance. On my credit card statement, it's 3%. But let's say that you're only paying 2% minimum monthly payment. So when you buy a $1,000 TV, you're making 2% minimum payment, you're paying $20 a month. But keep in mind, 1.5% of that $20 goes to interest. Therefore, $15 of that $20 is going to interest. $5 is going to principal. So when you play that out on that television purchase of $1,000, it's going to take you 94 months.
Wow.
To pay off that TV, and you're paying an additional almost $880 in interest.
So nearly 8 years. And
yes.
So that do quick math, that $1,000 TV actually is costing you
about $1,800. And if you'd simply paid $100 a month towards that television instead of $20, you'd pay it off in 9 months, and you'd only would have paid $92 in interest.
So why do you call the minimum monthly payment a trap, and how does it keep people in debt for years?
Just as my example showed you, very little of that payment's going towards the principal, and most of that payment's going to interest. In my own personal example, it was $29 are going to interest, $19 to principal. That's why it would take 10 years to pay off. So the trap is they're baiting you into making you pay the minimum monthly payment, thinking that's the correct amount. If I'm paying the minimum monthly payment, I'm on track. Everything's working out. But it's in fact designed for the banks to make more interest off your money.
If someone's watching this right now saying, yep, that's me, what's the one big change they can make to help them get out of this trap?
Simply pay more. If you go back to my credit card bill, they give you an example below that if I paid $64 instead of $48, that's only $16 more a month. I would pay off the balance in 36 months, 2/3 faster. So simply by adding $20, $50, $100 more to that minimum monthly payment keeps you ahead of the game, not falling behind.